Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Brooklyn Squad Real Life Drama. LENOIR is still missing. As you all know, me and Sharon Nation did our first 24-hour crime marathon from 9 a.m. to 3 a.m. First one. And one of our speakers was LENOIR's mother. I'm going to be quiet because I want you to hear what she has to say about this beautiful, beautiful young lady that trusted a family friend and is still missing. And 3 men also. 2 refused to say anything, and 1's on the run. Let's get into it. Before I start this video, hit subscribe, hit the notification bell, and please hit thumbs up. Thank you.
Even if they don't, if you're still breathing, okay? But they do not have any intention on ever giving you back. They have murdered you. People ain't right, and they know this ain't right. 24 years old, have their whole life ahead of them, disappear. My daughter has disappeared. They made her vanish. My daughter, 24 years old. It's a tough story. It doesn't get any easier to speak on. She went out with her friend Torri, two young women, to meet Diante Reynolds and Steven obite. They went to the apartment, as you just mentioned, a luxury high-rise in Midtown Atlanta. Usual Saturday night, go out, have friends, go have fun, and that was the last time I saw my daughter. They are seeing 4 of them coming in, only 3 coming out of that apartment. She's never been seen again. There are actually 3 men involved that have been charged so far, which is Diante Reynolds, Steven obite, and Nicholas Hendrickson. At this time, Nicholas Hendrickson and Diante Reynolds are under custody. They have been arrested and formally charged, and they have also been indicted formally. Steven obite remains a fugitive. He was cooperating with the police in order to pretty much deceive the police to get away, to do exactly what he's doing now. And so he is on Atlanta top 10 most wanted. I would like to, be able to speak, to have better news, right, at this point about my daughter, but I don't. She still hasn't been located.
Beautiful young girl. Beautiful.
There are 4 people who know for sure what happened to her that day, and all 4 refused to say what actually happened. Jesus. Those 4 being Diante, Steven, Nicholas, and Torri Green. They went there. Who knows what happened there? And my daughter has been made to vanish. Originally, when this first happened, they basically, their stories have changed so much within all of this time. There was always causing confusion, to cause confusion, both to me and the police. Fortunately, I am not someone who is easily led, not by emotion nor by what people say. So I just didn't believe me having a close, relationship with my daughter, any of the stories that any of these people had to say. And so originally, about the third day of my daughter being missing, I was told by the police that she would be put on missing persons. However, she was an adult based off these original three liars. She had simply just walked off and, decided to have a new life somewhere. I knew that that was not true. I had to fight, kind of battle through that. Luckily, my daughter did live in my home, and also we had very close communication. So I was able to prove through giving access of my phone and her phone records that we spoke every day, that we text every day, that we sent each other's messages every day, that when she was not in communication with me, she would be in communication with her, baby brother every day. This was constant. Even if she didn't come home for the night, if she stayed at her boyfriend's house or went out with girlfriends or whatever, there will be some kind of communication. So she wouldn't just check out, leave, and move to another state and not tell me. There will be no reason to do that. I was able to prove that rather quickly. Of course, it was a battle of, getting the police to pretty much believe that there was something that was not right, not just some girl having a good time. Maybe she's hungover somewhere, things that young people do, which I get that part, but that in all actuality, their stories weren't lining up. The energy wasn't right. It was constant change, the police told their version of how they were swift. They were not swift. They were not swift in doing anything. But I will say that after moving it up the chain, the detective that is in charge of the case did do a great job. I don't want to just be on here saying like police didn't do their job. There are, good and bads in everything. I do believe that, the original people who were on the case could have potentially, if not, it's hard for me to acknowledge the charges. But at the end of the day, I'm a mom. So what I will say is that whether she's here, she's in heaven, they buried her somewhere. They took her somewhere. Whatever they've done to her, they've already done. It's already happened. But what I will say is that these people, there's nothing that the police can tell me. Nothing. Nothing. There is no evidence, nothing that these guys will come up with, to save themselves, nothing. I know two things for sure. My daughter didn't go to that apartment to harm anybody. Period. She went out to have a good time, as all 24-year-olds do, as I did when I was 24. She didn't go there to harm or hurt anybody. Mm-hmm. And she's gone. And when I say she's gone, she's vanished. And the other thing that I will not accept is that this was their first go around at doing something to this. They knew what to say to the police. They knew how to move her around, and that would cause problems. Because when you moving somebody from place to place, it becomes a county issue. Police to try to talk to this, to get, to get permission to come over here. And, logistically, they did a lot of things that would not constitute you saying, oops, this was a mistake. Right. We had an accident here.
Right.
Because an accident shows different things. You know? Oops, she hit her head. Oh my God, what we do?
Right.
You know? And what it also shows is that not only did they go through these long lengths to hide from the police, they're caught. There's no way around. They're the ones that are in jail, the one that ain't in jail, he ain't in jail because you know what? He hiding from the police because he knows you gonna go to jail. Those people are not coming out of jail. But what I do know is that they knew how to play the system. They knew, listen, when the police came knocking, they weren't nervous. They're like, oh, that girl, she a Rodaway girl. She done went up the street. Or she told us she was going up the street to have another good time. You see what I'm saying? Like, you were like freaking out or panicking or one of the people saying, hey, man, this ain't right. There was an accident here. Then none of them do that. And that's what it lets me know that this was calculated, regardless of what they come up with later on. Because you know a story is coming. And it ain't going to be the one that tells the truth. It's going to be one that tries to get them the minimal amount of time in the prison. That's what they're going to try to do. And this last, that just, he was the last person that they picked up, which was Nicholas Hendrickson. Just last month, he tried to get bond, citing that, he didn't have nothing to do with this when there's blood. He's the one who moved my daughter. He's the one who moved her from county to county and state to state. He on camera like a fool. But he's still going to try to lie. And this is somebody who was in the military. I don't know about you ladies, and I have some people who I have been friends with. I have some I have some really, really close that I've been friends with for decades. I don't know who people got on deck. They claim there was, a body, and y'all just call each other up, hey, can you help me move this person? Or is this something, what I will pose, is this something that's been going on? And then their families, I want to hold their families accountable. The ones that are coming to court, that have the nerve to think that they tell their sons, hey, tell this mother, like, whatever has happened, you can't control what's happened, but give this family some peace. Give this family some peace. Let them start to heal.
Right.
I have an 8-year-old who has a lot of questions every single day. What can I say to him about humanity, about the law, about injustices that he's going to go on to having because you know why? Because I'm light, but I'm not light enough. And the babies sure aren't. And we know that that's why it's taken so long to get answers. And it's a harsh reality to have to try to explain to an 8-year-old, one, that your favorite person in the world probably ain't coming back to this house, but two, how society views her not good enough to look for, not good enough to televise, not important enough to put pressure on the people who did this. These people were out on the street for a long time, laughing, joking, saying things about my daughter. Their parents were on the internet talking crazy. Like, my daughter is not somebody that they would be associated with. In fact, they were texting my daughter and calling her and asking her to come over. Your sons were doing that. And, you know, they should be human. I'm calling out to just being human at this point. I don't even want justice anymore. Because I can't say that as a people we believe in it. We don't. We don't. We ask for it because it's a language that we feel that they understand. But we don't believe in justice. Because what justice will bring my daughter home in the same way she left here? That's the only justice that I can get, is that my daughter will return to this house in the same capacity that she left. Laughing, full of life, open-minded, joyful. Am I going to get that back? I am not going to get that back. What I'm going to get is a bunch of BS. Political answers. Right? That's all I can get. Give her some peace. I'm never truly going to be peaceful in my heart because my daughter is not going to be in the same capacity that I had her when she left. So that is not possible. What is possible is holding people to the same accountability as other people. That is possible, and that is why I'm on your show, and that is what I want to talk about, to give my son an understanding that it is possible. This is craziness that's happening everywhere, but it's really just on a heightened level in Atlanta, particularly in Fulton County, where they know that sentencing is low. You know, I'll tell you right now, I've been reaching out to everybody and their mama, anybody who will listen to me. Because the governor of Georgia responded. The senator reached out to me with a heartfelt letter. The councilwomen of Fulton County reached out. The assistant chief of police reached out. Ain't heard nothing from the mayor. And he knows this is happening in his city.
That's the mayor.
Wow. I've reached out. I post them. I tag them every time. People have reached out to him at his church. Quiet as a church mouse. This is happening rapidly in your city. In the city of Atlanta. Because people think Georgia, they're like, oh yeah, Atlanta. No. In the city of Atlanta, where they understand that Fulton County, you could get the lightest sentences. Diante Reynolds had 50 years. 50. Look it up. Doesn't matter. Public record. 50 years of probation. Meaning, before this case, before he got caught in this, he had several other cases. They gave him 20 years of probation for one. They gave him 20 probation years for another. They gave him 10 probation years for. This is what they give you probation. These people, these criminals don't care about no probation.
Sure don't.
They don't care about that. They'd be like, I'm gonna go right over here to this Fulton County and commit these crimes. Everybody, as anybody in the streets where they want to commit the crime, they're like, man, where you got your case at? Ooh, you good. Ooh. Doesn't matter what it is, including a murder charge. That's where you want to get it. In Fulton County. Because people know unless you running and hollering, and that's why I can't be quiet, because you're not gonna sweep this under the rug. I promise you, you're not. I promise you.
That's right.
I know Brooklyn squad ain't gonna be quiet.
That's right.
I know Shiro ain't gonna be quiet. We're not gonna be quiet.
That's right.
We're not.
That's right.
People are sick of it. And who are we to hold accountable when the people you go to is no help? When people you go to is acting like they can't hear you. They don't feel nothing. And let me tell you, I've been real quiet on that subject because I'm not a person that like to fly off the handle and just say stuff, including with my daughter's case. I've been very careful about who I talk about and how I talk about them, because there have been people, like I said, who did help me. There was a councilwoman that right away, boom, let me help you. Let me get you in front of the right people. This is injustice. What's going on? Let me get you in a hold of the chief of police. There are people in the city who do care, who are responsible for the office that they hold. There are police officers that are good, that are thorough. The detective who is now in charge of her case was very thorough. And I was frustrated in his thoroughness because, I want you to be fast and I want you to kick in the door and I want you to, look, like you're upset. But he was very thorough in all of the things that he did do to make sure that all the evidence that there is solid. So there are good people. I'm not going to throw the whole system in the trash. The judge who's looking over, she's very thorough. I was a little scared. I ain't going to lie to you. I was a little concerned. She got a real nice temperament, but she is very thorough in the questions that she's asking. She's very thorough. She's listening. She's paying attention. And that's all I'm asking for people to do is to pay attention. Pay attention to what's happening to us. Because it's happening too often. Yeah. I'm just a mother that is not going to stop. I'm not to kick in the door myself. I'm not afraid to go knock. I've knocked on all these people's parents' house. Hey, where your son at? Where my kid at? Where my daughter at?
That's right.
Hey, who you know? Who know him? You know his cousin? You know his brother? You know his sister? Reach out to them. I'm still asking the community. If you know these peoples, you know their mother, you know their brother, you know their sister, you know their cousins, you know their baby mamas. They know that people ain't right. And they know this ain't right. Because this ain't right. It is not right. Somebody who is 24 years old, have their whole life ahead of them, disappear. My daughter has disappeared. They made her vanish. There was a camera. 4 people walked in the building. Only 3 people came out. That was the last time she was seen. In a place where you think everything's good. All these young people coming to college right here in Atlanta. Imagine how many mothers, right? Mothers and daughters get into arguments all the time, like petty stuff. Don't even have to be real. You getting on my nerves right now, girl. And that was the first question y'all want to ask me. Did y'all get into an argument? You sure? You wouldn't have even looked for her because you told me to go home and forget about it. Now, apparently they didn't know who they was talking about because I'm over here about nothing.
She's beautiful.
I'm still thinking about stuff that happened 25 years ago. So I certainly ain't going to forget about my child.
Okay.
But how many parents have had to just go home and they 2 or 3 kids they got to take care of, and they got to go to work, and they're exhausted, and this is the most horrific thing that any person would ever have to endure. And I still have to go to work because I still have to keep these lights on in this house. And I still have an 8-year-old that's watching my every move. So I have to present good, you know? Even though I don't feel good, I have to present good. And I still have to go to work and try to not take out my personal problems on everybody who I meet who says good morning. And luckily for me, I've always had my faith. Because it's not me who's pushing through. It's not. They just found a girl who got lost. She came up missing 3 days before my daughter, 4 days before my daughter. And of course, you know, same old, must have ran away. They weren't looking for her parents, begging for help. Barely got televised. Come to find out, a police officer did her in.
We're going to be talking about
just
that case,
recent.
guys.
And they just found her remains. It's hard to accept these realities.
16 years old. 16. We will be talking about that case.
They have very good evidence to suggest that these men did just that.
Okay.
And I want to say this to you. I'm mom, right? So if a mom is capable of anything, is capable of believing in a miracle and having hope when it comes to their kids, and a believing mom even more, because you can breathe life into death, right? Something can be dead and then not be dead, right? We've seen it. However, if, let's just go with, we on a crime show, right? If somebody abducts you and removes you from everything that you love and care about, okay? And has zero intentions, even if they don't, if you're still breathing, okay? But they do not have any intention on ever giving you back, they have murdered you. Because you're no longer alive to the people who love you, and you are no longer alive for your own purpose. In fact, an enslaved person would be dead. Now we talking on some other parameters, right? We have to use some kind of intelligence now while we're talking. You think about that and just chew on it. If that's your whole intention, you in fact are worse than a murderer. Because what you're doing to a human being is worse than death. Right? And you should be charged worse than a death. So to me, the murder charge ain't enough. Because you move my daughter around, period, point blank. What were you doing when you moved her, sir? What? What were you doing when you moved her?